Hello everyone, my name is Darren Maines. This is my current event analysis for PBH 455. The article that I chose is Should Virginia Bus Systems Go Fare-Free Forever? It was published by Wyatt Gordon in the Virginia Mercury on April 6th. Let's start with some background information. So the governor of Virginia, Ralph Northam, before the pandemic started, created the Transit Rider Incentive Program, also known as TRIP. It was funded about $1.5 million. And it had two main goals. So 75% of that money went to supporting new bus routes, making the state more connected, while 25% went to offsetting any fares for low-income Virginians. And then COVID-19 happened and basically forced the implementation of that secondary option, which was offsetting the fares for Virginians. So this created fare-free transit for about a year. Currently. And so major communities have eliminated fares because they saw a significant decrease in ridership due to telecommuting people working from home. And then they saw an increased demand for equity, making transit more affordable because the people who were going to work were making minimum wage or working part-time, and a lot of their low income was going to transit, which wasn't very equitable at all. TRIP then received an additional $10 million earlier this year, and it could be spent anywhere. There was no stipulations besides that it had to be spent according to demand. And so this influenced many locales to implement this for this last year, but also to work on increasing it in the future. And so this was also applied for urban areas and rural areas. So in rural Virginia, there is a heavy reliance on the public transit system, and this was addressed in TRIP. So in Bluefield, Virginia, they have an average of 45,000 riders per year, and this decreased by $8,000 due to the pandemic. Bus pass went from 14 to 17 riders, and they usually charge about 25 cents per fare. But this never brought in any significant revenue. It was about 2.6% of their $300,000 budget. But Fare Free did increase their ridership. And then in Richmond, Virginia, they spent about $1.7 million on fare collection. This was part was from security enforcement and then printing any bus passes. They spent $1.7 million to collect it from people who are impoverished. About 27% of Virginia's riders has an income of less than $10,000 per year. 50% are less than the federal poverty level, and then 74% were people of color. So going fare free, at least in Richmond, will save $1,000 per person per year. And then the deputy county administrator said that when you look at transit as a public service versus a business, it starts to make more sense, which it does. Transit uses to get people to their doctor's appointments, to school, to work, to where they need to be. It shouldn't be making someone a profit. It is a public service, as it should be. So what are the next steps? The next step is analyzing this program, which is going to take about 3 to 5 years, which is good news for Virginians. So they're going to analyze the political, practical, and fiscal realities of it and its potential effects. But the money can't be found in the future. It will transition. Well, there's two options. So there is an account-based system, which is kind of like you tap your card and it's connected to your bank account. But there is a lot of costs related to this, and will lead to a fare due to the cost of implementing it. And you would also have to maintain and keep the original fare collection services and technology for those who don't have a bank account and will use cash. And there's an option of going with fare capping, which is an equitable policy that kind of prevents the increase of any bus fares. And the other option is creating a hybrid system, which is when you charge only those who are crossing county lines in Virginia. But this will be difficult to enforce who isn't charged. So it's kind of tricky to do it that way. But investment is needed, and TRIP will not give the transit any money unless um, is a system-wide fare-free policy. So I did find this article really interesting just because it shows, I guess, the policy side of active transportation. This all has to do with funding. It doesn't have to do with making complete streets. It doesn't have to do with um, telling people how to do any safety measures. It's all about putting money into transit, especially making it fare free. And when you make it fare free, it makes it way more affordable, which would influence people to walk to the transit system and put more walking into their life, which they would also eventually see some increase in physical activity, increase in health status. So it's really interesting to see what will happen in the next 3 to 5 years in Virginia and to see if they will maintain this fare fee program. Thank you.